Someone broke into my house and tried to find me. A few years ago, I was renting a house in Northern California. The neighborhood was just outside the suburbs, offering a perfect balance of space and friendly neighbors. The area had no streetlights, so it was incredibly dark at night, especially when clouds blocked the moonlight. But I found that darkness made my little house feel even cozier. One winter evening, I returned home from work. It was cloudy, and my headlights illuminated only a small patch of the driveway. As I got out of my car, I caught a whiff of cigarette smoke. It was strange. I had never noticed that smell around my house before. Not seeing anyone nearby, I shrugged it off and went inside. After a long shift, I felt exhausted. Even though it was only 7 p.m., I decided to take a shower and call it a night. I woke up later, convinced I had heard a noise inside my house. At first, I wasn't concerned. My friend sometimes stopped by to use my shower after work, and I had given him a spare key. He always texted me beforehand, though, and I hadn't heard my phone go off. I reached for my phone on the bedside table. The bright light from the screen blinded me. It was one of those old phones that didn't dim in the dark, and I squinted to see the time. It was after 9, but I couldn't tell if I had any unread messages. I called out my friend's name, but silence followed. Suddenly, I heard loud footsteps racing through the bottom floor of my house. My heart raced as I leapt out of bed and ran to the closet. By the time I opened the door, the intruder was already up the stairs. My house had 3 rooms upstairs, 2 bedrooms and a bathroom at the end of the hallway. The doors were closed, but the bathroom door was slightly ajar. I heard the intruder thunder down the hallway and into the bathroom. Thank goodness for that. It gave me just enough time to open the attic access in my closet and hoist myself up. As I lifted myself into the attic, the intruder rushed out of the bathroom. My feet were barely inside when my bedroom door burst open. I heard footsteps stop in my room, then rush back into the hallway and into the other bedroom, which was filled with boxes and my painting table. They seemed to think I would be hiding in the bedroom. Then, it charged back into my room and turned on the light. Moments later, the closet door was yanked open. I crouched in the attic, just a foot away from the access, ready to stop them if they tried to climb up. From my vantage point, I could only see their legs. They wore dirty blue jeans and worn work boots. After a few seconds of searching, they stepped away, and I heard a loud crash, followed by a scream of frustration. That scream sent chills down my spine. It reminded me too much of my stepfather, who would lose his temper in a similar way. He had been hospitalized for severe mental health issues, which made his outbursts even more unsettling. The intruder ran back down the stairs, and I heard chaos erupt as they threw things around and knocked over furniture. I stayed crouched in the attic, realizing I had left my phone behind. I wasn't sure I could climb down without being heard. After what felt like an eternity, the noises finally stopped. I started counting slowly. When I reached 1,000, I decided it was safe to climb down and call the police. As I exited the closet, I saw that the intruder had flipped my bed over, likely in an attempt to find me. I couldn't find my phone, so I hurried to the landline by the bed and called the police. I waited in my room until I heard them call out from downstairs. The first floor was a disaster. Chairs were knocked over, the sofa flipped, and all my belongings were strewn about. The kitchen cupboards had been opened, and food was scattered across the floor. Thankfully, the only thing missing was a single knife from the wooden block. The police searched the house thoroughly. They discovered that the side door had been forced open and found cigarette butts along my fence line. They suspected the intruder had been watching my house for a while. I realized he must have been outside smoking when I got home. They collected evidence and advised me to stay with family or friends that night and to fix the door as soon as possible. I chose to stay awake instead. I moved a shelf to block the broken door and spent the next few hours cleaning up. I often went to the window with a flashlight, shining it along the fence line, but I didn't see anything. The next day, I arranged to have the door fixed and installed motion lights around the house. I even ran a phone line into the attic, ensuring I would never be trapped up there without a way to call for help again. Thankfully, nothing else happened during my 3 years living there. One more precaution I took was to practice getting out of bed and climbing into the attic as quickly and quietly as possible. I continued this even after moving, but now I use a crawl space at the back of the closet. I try not to dwell on what might have happened if I had been slower or if the intruder hadn't gone into the bathroom first.